So now, in the previous classes, we have seen about local applets, types of applets. In that, we have seen about local applets, right? So now, moving on to the next applets, which is called remote applets. From the word itself, you can understand the meaning. Remote applets are stored on remote servers, which will be downloaded and executed on the user's machine when the web page is accessed. See the fourth point in the slide. In order to locate and load a remote applet, we must know the applet's address on web, which is called as URL. URL is in the sense Universal Resource Locator, right? You all heard about this term URL, which is nothing but a unique identifier that tells a browser how to find a resource on the web. Now see this picture representation of a remote applet. There is a remote applet which communicates between the client and server computers. This is how remote applet works. Okay, I hope you understand the concept. Now we are moving on to the next slide. So now we are in the slide of limitations. So in this slide we are going to see about the limitations of the applets. These are the things which applets cannot able to do. Okay, so I'm going to list out the points which is not mentioned here. So don't forget to take the notes, which will be helpful for your studies. Applets do not use a main function. First point is applet do not use main function. Applets cannot read or write files in a local computers. And then next point is applets cannot communicate with other servers on the computers. So you may go through the slides which is mentioned in the slide. So the points which I am telling list out now are the same points, so don't get confused. Just listen to the points I'm explaining now. So the first 3 points are applets do not use main functions. Applets cannot read write files in the local computers. And the next point is applets cannot communicate with other servers on the computer. Then fourth point is applets cannot run any programs from local computers. Okay, so fifth point is applets are restricted to use libraries from other languages such as C or C++, which means applets doesn't use or applets cannot able to use the C++ library files. Okay, so next point is applets cannot stream data directly into the browser, which means applet needs an applet viewer to run the program to the browser. Okay, so next point is applets cannot start up until the JVM is running. The most important limitation is that applets are restricted due to security reasons. So in from the starting of this applet class, I have mentioned that applet has a security problems. So due to this security problems and the evolution of the modern technologies, applets have reduced drastically. So which is why this is the main reason for applets cannot be used nowadays. Okay, so the most important points in the limitations of applets are restricted due to security reasons. For example, they cannot access the client resources like local system files. So I hope you understand the limitations slide. Then we will move on to the next slide. So far we have seen about what is applet and how to use applets, what are the types of applets, and what are the limitations of applet programming. So these are all the things which we have covered so far. Now you can think when to use applets, right? So for which type of content we gonna use these applet concepts, or what will be the impact of this using this applet concepts. So this is the content we are going to see in this slide. So when you are going to use applets, for instance, for example, if you are developing a project using Java, in the middle of the work you have thought to include some graphics or some videos or audios into your project. At that time, applets will play a major role. So when you are going to add some graphics or dynamic content into your web pages, applet will play a major role. See in this slide, when we need something dynamic or when we require some flash outputs, we are going to use applet concepts during that time. This is when we tend to use applets. So hope you get the meaning, and we'll move on to the next slide. In this slide, we are going to see the differences between applets and applications. So just I'm going to read out the differences so that you can able to understand. You can also read the differences of your own. You will be easily understand. It will be easily understandable for you. So the main difference is applet. From applets is a dynamic program which is run on a browser. So applet will run on a browser. Application program is a static program which run using Java interpreter. So Java applications will need Java interpreters, whereas applet programs will directly work on a browsers. Okay, so the next point, applet do not use the main of method for initiating the execution of the code. So application uses main method for execution of the code. So this difference you will be able to see when you are writing the applet code. Applet do not use a main method. So next point, applets cannot be run independently. They must be run under the applet viewer. So this point you learned in the previous slides. So applet will need a applet viewer to run, but application programs directly runs using a Java C compilers. Okay. So the next point is applet cannot read or write files on the web user's disk. So applets cannot able to read or write files, which I was saying earlier in the limitations slide. But the applications can read and write on the web users. So like it will use the file classes, stream classes, stream files using for reading and writing purposes. Okay. So next point is applet cannot communicate with other server on the network. Applets cannot able to communicate, but the application can communicate with servers on the networks. So this will be covered in the upcoming classes. Okay. So next point is applet cannot run any program from the local computers. So applet cannot able to run any programs from the local computer. This needs a servers and internet connection to run any program. But the application program can run from your local computer, which you are using the Java applications to run. You can able to run your programs in your local machines, right? So that is the difference. The next difference is applets are restricted from using libraries from C and C++. So this was also said earlier in the limitations slide. Applets cannot use any other languages libraries, but Java application is using the C++ libraries also, right? The OOPS concepts is basically from the C++ language. So these are the main differences of applet and application. Okay, hope you understand. We'll see in the next slide.